Hermes Trismegistus says that Zeus made the grid around the earth, and this is what is used by Americans and Russians. Now, who was Hermes Trismegistus? He could be associated with the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. Greeks in the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt recognized the equivalence of Hermes and Thoth through the Interpretatio Graeca. So consequently, the two gods were worshipped as one in what had been the temple of Thoth in Kamenu, which was known in the Hellenistic period as Hermepolis. Hermes, the Greek god of interpretive communication, was combined with Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom. The Egyptian priest and polymath Imhotep had been identified long after his death, therefore assimilated to Thoth in the classical and Hellenistic periods. The renowned scribe Amenhotep was a wise man named Theos, were co-equal deities of wisdom, science, and medicine. Thus, they were placed alongside Imhotep in shrines dedicated to Thoth Hermes during the Ptolemaic kingdom. Now, the Mycenaean Greek referred to the deity as a semi-deity called Tirisero, tris heros, thrice a triple hero. And there are those who commented to me that Hermes Trismegistus is not the Egyptian god Thoth. Well, according to what I'm just reading from you from Wikipedia, yes, he is. But let's go and see about what it says about the ley-line grid around the Earth. Thoughts, according to quantum physics, are energy, and they're objects, and they have substance. Our thoughts have energy and substance. They have their own form, color, and lifespan. The energy, we know, is converted into matter. These are the new weapons of those who rule us. Of course, our ancestors also opened their eyes to this field. They knew that this existed. Let's remember what one of the videos in the past few days that I put up concerning what Nikola Tesla believed, that ether could bring down matter, and matter could also go into another frequency dimension, into the ether. Kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. So, according to the quantum physics, the energy objects are thoughts have energy and their own form, color, and lifespan. Energy, we know, is converted into matter, and these are the new weapons of those who rule us. Of course, our ancestors also knew this. Now, the lightning of Zeus. This was supposedly a terrible weapon, the lightning rod of Zeus, and its function was also based on thought. Such weapons are now being made by Russians and Americans. All human thoughts are concentrated in a grid. They're stored there. It's like a memory from our computer. And this grid I wrote earlier is at 60 miles above the Earth. The grid was destroyed before the constant wars created by the inhabitants who came from other planets to Earth, one of them being Mars, who had developed only the left part of their brain to restore order because the 1,600 enlightened teachers could not do it alone. That's when Zeus came. As we know from one of the previous videos, the pantheon of the Olympic gods were all Atlanteans, extraterrestrial. So anyway, they decided to make, again from the beginning, this ley-line grid that Hermes calls the good and useful grid. We've said that all human thoughts are gathered in this grid, and so with this grid, people can become good or bad. Now, this grid, from what I'm reading here, seems to be something like the Akashic record. Now, the grid, so with this grid, people can become good or bad, and that's why it could be similar to what we know as HARP. And Russians have the same, by the way. They affect the way people think because we're connected to this grid. Our ancestors knew this well, and we are the ones who are running away. This is how the multinationals pass up their products. Now, according to this legend, Jupiter came and made the North Pole of the grid in what is now the Great Pyramid, and in the south on a small island called Moorea, an island in Tahiti, they made a hole 1 mile deep and a small temple on top of it, and this temple was covered with a pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Cheops, the Great Giza Pyramid. The pyramid of fairy tales is not the tomb of Cheops, as they told us. Below this pyramid, says Hermes, and at a depth of 1 mile, there is an entire city. Now, it's the first time that we hear about ancient texts talking about an underground, very luxurious city under the Giza Plateau, and there's supposedly very luxurious underground cities in other Egyptian pyramid plateaus, one of them being in the area of Saqqara in Egypt. Now, below this pyramid, Hermes says at a depth of 1 mile, there is an entire city. Selected people took refuge here, who were brought by Zeus on a spaceship before the closure took place, and down in the pyramid there is a spaceship and a weapon that protects the earth. Now we know that Thoth in the Emerald Tablets, which I have a playlist for you if you want to hear the advanced technology that the Atlanteans had, Thoth credits himself as building the Giza Pyramid Plateau, and he says that he has buried his spaceship under a sphinx in a pyramid plateau in Egypt. I can't remember if it was Giza or not. So he says that, Thoth says that he buried his spaceship under a sphinx. The same thing is happening here, as we see. Below the pyramid, Hermes says, at a depth of 1 mile, there is the entire city. Selected people took refuge here, who were brought by Zeus on a spaceship before the closure took place. And down in the pyramid, there is a spaceship with something that protects, technology that protects the earth. Now, the points of the lattice that join the earth are 85,000. In the main, the Greeks built the temples, and now the Americans and the Russians, their bases. In Egypt, we have 3 large pyramids, talking, of course, about the Giza Plateau. These scientists saw the signs from today's satellites that they were buildings there. They were placed in a logarithmic spiral, and what did they find out? In 1985, they themselves admit that with today's technology, they cannot build these things in that way. This is from Revelation in the 9th Wave, and I've translated this to you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support.